Hello everyone, welcome back. If you don't know, we make sewing patterns made especially for drag queens, and today I'm going to show you how to sew our skeleton dress pattern. Perfect for a Halloween or an alternative look. This pattern is made for our unique drag queen sizes from extra small to extra large, however it can be worn by anyone that fits within the size measurements provided. You can download this pattern at katkow.net, part of our Halloween 2025 collection. Let's get started. Once you download and print the pattern, you can assemble the pages. For detailed instructions on printing and assembly, watch this video linked at the top. Once assembled, you should have the following paper pattern pieces: 12 front bone pieces and 10 back bone pieces, which you will use to overlay on top of the base. 1 center front piece, 1 side front piece, as well as 1 center back piece and 1 side back piece. I'll note here for this video, I will not be adding a lining to the dress. Because of that, I added an additional 1 inch to the bottom of the base dress pieces to create a rolled hem. If you plan to add a lining, you can keep the original bottom seam allowance. For fabric, I'm using a non-stretch black polyester for the base of the dress, and a similar fabric in white for the bone overlay pieces. For notions, you'll need sewable plastic boning, this is optional but best for drag queens. And a long invisible zipper, which we'll install on the side of the dress. The base of the dress is a simple princess seam style. You'll cut 2 mirrored pieces for each of the front and back base pieces. For the bone pieces, pay close attention to the annotations, some require cutting 1 piece, 2 mirrored pieces, and others need to be cut on a folded edge of fabric. For sewing, it's best to test the fit of the base first. Start by sewing the front center, front side, and back center pieces together along their matching seams, with loose straight stitches. Leave either the center front or the center back seam unsewn to try on the base and check the fit. Pin any seam areas that need to be taken in for a more fitted look. If the base feels too tight, you may need to size up to allow for more fabric. Once your fit is correct, rip all of the seams open so we can start fresh. Serge all of the raw edges along the vertical seams. We'll begin resewing with the center front pieces. Stack the center front pieces together, right sides facing each other, and sew them along the center front edge. Once sewn, press both seams open on the wrong side of the fabric. This will create tunnels for your boning. Top stitch the seam allowances down on both sides, making sure to leave enough space for the boning to slide securely inside the tunnel. Once sewn, the tunnels should look like this. You can now measure your boning to fit inside the tunnels. It's best to leave about 1 inch at the top and about 1.5 inches at the bottom to allow for hemming. Your boning should be roughly 2 to 2.5 inches shorter than the total length of the tunnel. Before inserting your boning, make sure to melt the ends or wrap them with tape so they don't poke through the fabric. You will repeat this boning step for all other seams. Next, attach the front side pieces to the center front pieces, right sides facing each other, making sure to align the notches properly. Sew them in place using a straight stitch. Once sewn, press both seam allowances toward the outside of the dress, creating 1 tunnel for the boning. If you prefer, you can also create 2 separate tunnels here, just like we did with the center front seam. Insert your boning into the tunnel and then repeat the same steps for the opposite front side piece. Once your front panels are assembled, we can begin top stitching the bone pieces onto the front of the dress. You can use the paper pattern guide to mark the placement with chalk, Or you can simply eyeball where you'd like them to go. Because this is a Halloween look, I'm leaving the white edges of the bones raw and distressed. However, if you prefer a cleaner finish, you can serge the raw edges or double the bone pieces, sew them together, and flip them right side out before pinning them to the front. Work in sections for better accuracy. Once pinned in place, top stitch around the outer edges of each bone piece to sew them down. Avoid attaching the bust pieces and the bottom hip bone pieces at this stage. We'll save those for later when we finish hemming the dress. Then repeat the same steps for assembling the back panels and back bone pieces. Next, we can install the zipper on one side of the dress. Choose whichever side you prefer for the zipper placement. The zipper should stop around the hip area, so I'm using the hip notch to mark where it will end. First, sew the front and back pieces together along the zipper side below the zipper placement, stopping at the notch. Once sewn, clip a small cut at the notch point to spread open the seam allowances where the zipper will end. Pin the zipper in place, right sides of the zipper facing the right side of the garment, along the open edges. Make sure to leave space at the top of the zipper so you can still attach and finish the top edge of the dress later. Sew each side of the zipper down using a zipper foot for a clean, close finish. Once the zipper is attached, top stitch along the edge of the zipper from the right side of the fabric for extra security. You can then sew and serge the opposite side of the dress together. Next, serge along the entire top edge of the dress and the bottom hem edge of the dress. Once serged, we can hem the top of the dress. Fold the top edge of the dress over by about a ½ inch and pin it all the way around, stopping at the zipper. Top stitch the fold in place to secure the top hem. Repeat the same process for the bottom hem, this time folding the edge over by about 1 inch. Then top stitch the bottom hem securely all the way around. Lastly, finish by top stitching the bust bones to the top of the dress and the bottom hip bones for the front and back. And just like that, your skeleton dress is complete. Feel free to experiment with different fabrics, textures, and embellishments to make it your own. You can even add a lining for a more professional finish. Please tag us in your creations at Katkow on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more drag queen sewing patterns and tutorials.